Hello, everyone. Welcome to Paradigm Shift. My name is Patrick Barfi. Here we are going to teach you how to dramatically improve the quality of your life. So, we've been hearing these days a lot about investing, invest in this, invest in that. And there's a lot going on when it comes to investing. And it's all good. But there's one particular one that is very silent that people don't talk about it a lot. But that is gold. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And it's dividend income or dividends, right? So today we'll be talking about how to live off your dividends or how to live off your dividend income. But before we start, I want you to do me a favor, pal. It says 75% of my viewers are not married to me. I mean, they are not my subscribers. So I want you to like, share and subscribe. And when you subscribe, hit the bell so that you get notification anytime it's time. Live show we update with information. So let's go ahead and dive straight into this dividend income. So there are so many ways. Dividend income is something that can you can live off that actually not without working, and that can take care of you. Like I said, it's gold if you know how to do it. And there are so many ways you can live without working. If you can put your money in the SHSA, which is high yield savings account, and that usually don't give you much. So or you can use your rental property to make you some money. Yeah, that also can let you not working and making money. Royalties, if you have books, those kind of things. If you've written books and all those things, you can also do that. And also you can if you can invest in startup companies, that can also get you something. Like investing in businesses and all that can get you profit or shares or something. But this dividend is something that we don't talk about a lot, and like I said, it's gold. So let's assume you want to have 50,000 a year. That's what is going to take care of you for the whole year, and you want to live off you want to use dividend to live off that. How do you do that? You see, and that is passive. We're talking of passive income. That means you are staying home. So that means you have to invest in something that can get you that amount a year. And there are some companies that pay off dividends. Yes, that's what we're going to dive on. We're going to dive in today. There are companies that give you dividend. They give you the money if you want them. If you want to take them, yes. So if you want 50K, that means you need about 4,160, 67 or 65 in your account every month. And how do you do that? There are some ways you can do that, right? One, you can go by the 70, 20, 10 rule, which is my rule. Says every money that comes to you, you spend 70, you invest 20, and save 10. You save. If you are saving for no reason, that money shouldn't be saved. It should be investing. So when you start saving, after a while, let's say you've taken care of your 3 to 6 months emergency fund or your rainy day fund, you don't need a savings again. So at that point, you can make it 70-30, where you spend 70 and invest 30 because you've already have your savings over there. Again, I would say if you are saving and just saving, you're doing it wrong. You have to have a reason for saving. Other than that, it has to be invested because we all know inflation is going to chop right into it. So whilst anything that is saved should be something purposely for emergency fund, or if you are saving for something, maybe a year or two, if you're saving to go. All right, that's a lot about that. Let's talk about the dividend. So first of all, why do companies pay out dividend? Why do companies pay out dividend? That's the thing we have to know. What it is there are companies that they pay dividend, and they pay that because they have a lot of money. I'll make one example here. Let's say let's take McDonald's. Last year, McDonald's I think had a profit of 14.7 billion. Yeah, 14.7 billion. last year, just 2024. And there are three ways they can do if you have that money. One, you can save some of them, right? You can save some of them. And two, you can reinvest back into the company. And I believe they saved some, which they did. And also reinvesting, buying more, employing more workers, buying more burgers and all that. They did that too. And the rest, they can share it among their shareholders, right? And who are the shareholders? The people that own a piece of McDonald's. Literally, they gave about a little bit over 5 billion to their shareholders. You see, so if you have a share, that means you will get a piece of this profit, and that's how it starts. You see, people think you have to take a whole lot of money and go put it in there and start getting this dividend income. No. If you have the money, that is fine, but not a lot of us have that money, so you have to start from somewhere, and that's what I'm going to show you, right? So let's say right now, as we're talking, McDonald's got their share, they're paying dividend share of 2.3%, right? So let's say they did last quarter, and AT&T is paying 4%, right? Verizon is paying 6%, and Pfizer is paying 6%. Wow, that's huge. And Google is paying 0.5%. You see, what it is if I want to buy McDonald's and I need 50,000 a year, that's a lot of money that I have to invest in McDonald's, right? That means I have to invest about 2.2 million to be able to get that about 40,000 or so back. If I want to get 40,000, I have to invest in about 1.2 in AT&T, depending, because AT&T is paying 4%. If I want 40% and I'm investing in Verizon, that means I need about 800 and something thousand, because Verizon is paying about 6%. And Pfizer is paying about 6.4, so that is about 770,000. And Google is paying about 0.5. So if I have to invest in it to get 40,000, that means I have to do 10 million. How do you get this money? This money is huge. You cannot. It's going to be hard for you to, just sit down and get this money and unless you're waiting to win the lottery. And we all know what happens when you're waiting to win the lottery. So what you might want to do is what I was talking about. We know people are doing this, and they did this by gradually getting there. You see, when you want to do this, it has to be gradual. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. I always talk about this, right? So what you start doing is any money that comes into your hand, you buy a piece of all these companies if you want to, right? The one you want to invest in, you have to do your due diligence. Make sure you know what it is, how it is, and before you start buying. Do not try to buy shares or buy dividend shares all because of the share they are paying. Sometimes it's very tricky, so you might want to find out a little bit before you do that. So, but first of all, see, just also buying one company to me is risky, and gambling, I don't really gamble, and it's risky to me. So what you can do is, like I said, you can start investing gradually. Any money that comes into your hand, you spend 70%, 20% goes to investing, and 10%. As you continue doing that gradually, after a while, then you see, because when you start, if you've been investing for a while, you know that when you start the first year, you don't see anything. The second year, you don't see anything. Third year, you don't see anything until after fifth year, then you start seeing something a little bit. Sixth year, then fifth year, then you see, okay, then you start seeing something. So this is a process. This is something that you have to do for a long time. You're going to be in for a while before that dividend money start coming in. And what I'm saying is, when that dividend comes in, you reinvest that. You don't just take that money away. You just reinvest that money. But like I was saying, this is also, like I said, it's it's risky to me when you just invest in one company, because if that company goes down, it goes with you, and you don't want to do that. And not only just you lose the dividend money, you also lose that money you put in. So what you can do is, there are companies, there are fund companies that are group of company called fund. You can invest in those funds that can help you also. Yeah, because if you have a fund, if you have a group of company about, like, let's say S&P 500, I always make example of that because it's the 500 largest public traded company in the United States. And if they have a standard, and they have a standard that you have to be in, if one of them goes down, the rest is still standing. They take you out and they bring someone in. So it's going to be very tough for you to invest in that and start losing money, unless the whole stock exchange or the whole thing is going down. That is when you start going down, when you have that. So we have the same companies, like group of companies that only pay dividends, right? So you might get a share, the share might appreciate, but not much. And most companies do that because some of these companies are well established. They don't need to invest or reinvest more in their companies anymore. I mean, they do, but not like a startup company. So let's take McDonald's, for example, and a Google. We also happen. McDonald's is giving about 2.3, and Google is giving is paying a dividend of about 0.5. Why? Because Google want to go more. They want to do more. They want to reinvest. They want to do so many things, right? And the same way, because if you remember, Amazon was a public traded company for so long, and they weren't paying dividend at all, completely, because they wanted to, be somewhere before they can do that. So usually, if you want these kind of dividend, you have to go with those companies. So let's say we have some of these companies that, examples of dividend dividend paying funds. One of them is SCHD. At present, they are paying about 3.5%. It's created by Charles Schwab that they invest highly dividend paying companies into this United States. That's the highly companies that highly pay dividends in the United States. If you invest in those, these are, like I was saying, like a fund. So one of them goes down, the rest are still standing. So you really want to make sure instead of investing in just a single company, you can go ahead and do that. So the first one, like we were talking about, is the SCHD, and at this present, they are paying a dividend of 3.5. That was created by Charles Schwab that invests in high dividend paying companies inside of the United States, right? The next one is NOBL. At the present, they are paying 2%. It's an ETF, a fund that invests in dividend paying S&P 500 companies. You see, within S&P 500, which usually you have your whatever, your shares appreciate and all that. Within them, they have companies that also pay more dividend. So if you want to do that, you can do that also. And guess what? Not just that alone, they go further than that. Look at how they structured this. Even they are paying dividend, the only time you can do that is they are very straight about this. It only invests in companies that have increased their dividend, every year for the last 25 years. If you know a little about investment, you know a little about these companies, you might really know companies that are in S&P 500 that are not part of this. You can easily know that because consistently for 25 years, if they keep on increasing their dividends. So that is the other one. Like I said, it's good, always good to be in a fund. Sometimes, especially when it comes to not just dividend, but the other side, these single companies, appreciate a lot. It goes up a lot, but it's so risky. I always say that to me, it looks like a gamble. So make sure you take care of all these funds first, indexing and all that before you start doing that. All right. So the next one is the VYMI, which are presently paying dividend of 4.5%, right? Created by Vanguard, and it's only investing in high dividend paying companies internationally. There are so many companies out there. There are so many countries out there, companies that are doing good, like Mercedes-Benz, what is Samsung. They are doing good, but they are international companies. Even though they have offices here, you see them a lot of here, things going on. They are still international companies. So these companies also pay dividend, and this is created by. And these are just few ones that I'm saying. There are a whole bunch of them. You have to do, like I said, your own research. And I'm not saying go invest in these ones. I'm sure I say if you want to do them, that's fine, but you have to do your own due diligence. Make sure it matches with what you want, your goal, before you start investing in those things, right? You see, there's another thing that is also very important when it comes to dividend companies. One of them is real estate. There are people that don't want to just physically own real estate because to them it's kind of so hard to do all these kind of managerial stuff and all that. You got to go construction and all that, so they don't want to do that. But there's companies that are there that take care of that, so you can invest in something like REITs, which is a real estate investment trust. And the good thing about this is most of these companies are companies that invest in real estate. They follow the 90% rule. What is the 90% rule? The 90% rule says that their taxable income, 90% of their taxable income should go to their shareholders. So if you own part of these companies, that means 90%. So let's say if they make 10 billion, after paying everything, it's 10 billion they have, you are getting whatever your share is, you're getting your portion of it. So that is also a very good thing. So if you are, this is kind of like owning real estate, but you don't own real estate, so you are in a real estate part, but you don't physically own it, but you still, investing in that, and I love this a lot. I love this kind of companies. We have few ones that I can also show to you. Again, I'm not saying go invest in it. I'm just saying it, and I'm just showing you there are a ton of them. You can do your own due diligence and invest in those ones. So the next one is the one that we can talk about is the VNQ. The VNQ is a Vanguard Real Estate ETF, which invests in office buildings, hotels, and other rare properties. Right? Yeah, so that is also good. The other one is SCHH, that is investing in 3%. The VNQ, the Vanguard one, is invested at this present is 3.6%. And the SCHH is 3%, and that's Charles Schwab's real estate. That they invest in a broad range of REITs, and the REITs is real estate companies. So, and the next one is XLRE, which is investing at this present time. They are giving dividend of 3.2%, and this fund invests in development companies, management companies, and other broad real estate investment companies. So these are companies that also, if you want to, you're interested in real estate, but you don't really want to do the physical work, you can do this and also make you be, be part of the game. So these are some of the stuff, and these are not just them. There are a whole bunch of them. Like I said, you can go them, research, and find companies that can suit you, right? Again, I'll say this: don't just invest in companies that because these companies are just paying a lot, right? A lot of, let's say, I'll make an example with Verizon and Google. Google is doing very fine, but you see, because of their goals and what they want to do, that is the reason why they want to do it. But the goal is to invest in good companies, not just dividend. The dividend is good, and if you make them, you reinvest them. So as you continue to do, see, when we look at it, if you want to invest in McDonald's, we see you need about 2.2. How are you going to get a 2.2? You have to constantly doing this continually and reinvesting the dividend that is coming in. And as you continue to do that, like I said, after 4, 5, 6, 7th year, or the 10th year, you see that now, something is going on. And not just that, all the money you get, the bonuses and stuff, any money that comes in, you start putting it in there because you want to get this income that, let's say when you retire, or let's say if you're retired, that can feed you. So consistently putting that in there. So like I said, the goal is to invest in good companies and not just dividend companies. And the companies that you should invest in companies that are healthy, should be profitable, and also should be growing, But there are kind of caveat or cons to this kind of investment, the dividend investment too. the thing about dividend investing is you have to make sure, one is what I just said, you have to make sure the company is growing. It's a growing company, not just dividend because of the dividend, a growing company, healthy and profitable also. The next thing is about taxes. You have to make sure you know what it is. What it is even though you are reinvesting that dividend that is coming to you, you still got to pay taxes on them. No two ways about that, right? So every year you get something from these companies, financial institutions, which you can use to do your taxes. So you have to look into those things too, so you can see your tax preparer or CPA when you want to invest and see how that can also go. But the good thing, like I was saying, I know when I started talking about millions to put in before you get that dividend, that 40,000, I know it's going to scare you. But again, don't look at it. It's just one time 10. It's something that is going to be doing for a long time. You can use the DRIP formula, which is dividend reinvestment plan. Like I said, anytime you get it, you put it back in there. And these are the steps that can help you. Always make sure your dividend payments, you invest in stocks or funds. And so also make sure do your research. The other thing is you have to make sure you're doing your research. And also, if you want to be part of this long-term thing, you have to automate it. You don't want to forget. It has to be consistent, to make sure you are doing it. And the other one is also make sure it's, like I said, it has to be a decade of sacrifice. It's a slow game. Trust me, it's a slow game. And if you don't have that patience, you can't do it. If you want that get money quick, you won't be able to do this. It's a slow game. It's a process, and take your time and start doing it consistently. And the $100 you start putting in, like I said, personal, finance is behavior. It's 80% behavior. Head knowledge is just 20%. So as you keep on doing it, it becomes your habit. And when it becomes your habit, you see the 100 that you used to put in, it's going to increase to 150. You're going to be so focused that any money that comes to you, because you know why you're doing that, you know your goal, you know where you're going. And as you keep on doing that, you'll see that it started growing and growing and growing. And it's going to be a point where now you have that amount that you're looking for that can feed you for you to retire. So like I said, there are so many things that we talk about, but this dividend companies or dividend paying out money, we don't talk about it at all. So do your own due diligence. Make sure you check everything. Don't just hear anybody says. Like I said, all these things are not that hard. When you take your time to look into it, research it a little bit, and take the one that will suit you. Again, I said that the single stocks ones that pay dividend are risky. It might not be risky to you. I'm just saying it's risky for me. Yeah, but it might not be risky for us. That's why personal finance is not one fit all. Choose what is good for you, right? So yes. Share this, spread it around and make sure people understand it, because we all talk about the one-sided one, appreciating shares or only appreciating stocks and shares. That's the only one we talk. We don't talk about the dividend part of it. And some of these appreciating stocks also that appreciate also got dividend in them. That's the stock, the S&P 500 that we were just talking about. So do your own check and make sure you can invest it. Okay, this is Patrick Buffy. Make sure you spend wisely, save intentionally, and be generous. See you.